Today I'm going to be talking to you about why so many children of immigrants rise to the top. This is simply what I read, what I jotted down, and why I think it connects with emotional pieces, logical pieces, as well as just research based. There's a lot of factors that can typically go into this topic. This topic is very biased, and some people may put it on the spectrum as being good or bad. When I say put it on the spectrum as being good or bad, a lot of people have good opinions about this topic, a lot of people have bad opinions about this topic. I tend to think there's a lot of emotion that goes into this as being classified as the short end of the stick, typically what I read and typically just what I believe personally when it comes to this kind of thing. So I stated in the passage, the lack of a shared set of facts about immigration makes it easy for accusatory and often false messages to echo loudly in the run-up, especially to the midterm elections. I say this because there's a lot of opinions that go into whether you're voting, whether you're not voting when it comes to the presidential election. There's a lot of things said when it comes to immigration, the wall, borders, etc. When reading this, it kind of motivated me to look at the more emotional piece of it, the personal aspect, that these people struggle with multiple things that we struggle with as humans and should be treated as said others, but not based off of their situation. I say this because putting it into a more humanity perspective, yes, it might not follow with what the law, the government may follow, but I typically think it's not okay to not treat others humanly when it comes to this kind of thing, when it's like building walls and, stuff like that. Tied into this, logically, there is points proven that when it comes to immigration, it is very controversial, obviously. Some can be bad, but it should not be put on a logical scale that all harm comes from a certain percent of people doing it. I'm saying this, and what I mean by this sentence is you can't take one bad person and put it into multiple good persons, if that makes any sense. So you can't take one bad person and put them in a group of good people, because then that bad person is just going to reflect off every other good person. It's not really logical, and it doesn't really make sense as you really think about it. That's what I was saying. Stated in the passage, using this data set, Professor Booston were able to compare the income trajectories of immigrant children with immigrant children with those of people whose parents were born in the United States. Something I have noticed in this passage poem specifically is there is a lot of persuasion when it comes to the certain community and tying into the community. When I say this, a lot of this community struggles with financial things and tying into the economy, or any other place where large numbers of immigrants have been moved into a poor country. So when these immigrants typically get let in or they get in, they typically get put into a more worse place than they already were before. It's been put into a poor community and one that has not been known to get richer. So one area that has not tend to grow fonder when it comes to this economy. When it is put this way, that they're being put into an economy that doesn't necessarily get richer, it tends to make me think that what I'm reading makes me think when I am reading about how I am not in this position, but understanding from more of a reader's point of view, that I stated earlier, it motivates people to want to do better simply because of how they're treated, but the circumstances of the economy is treating where they are in this lifetime. So just because you have a poor person and then you put them in a more poor community, it doesn't really help them. So I tend to think it motivates them to want to do better and rise to the top.